why you should quit and move to Spain.
I don't want to start this video off on the wrong foot, because the exact reason why I'm making this video is not to do anything than encourage people to follow what it is that they're passionate about. This video is the opposite of what you might think. I didn't move to Spain because of just the weather, albeit it's great. I didn't move because of the food, because with 2 recipe books, I think I'm doing all right in terms of the cooking. And I certainly didn't move because I wanted to just work with my laptop on the beach or in the sun, because I tried that once and you can barely see what you're typing. And it's not for the nightlife, because with 2 kids, that is pretty much non-existent. So why am I telling you to quit, and what am I telling you to quit? Let me explain. So about 4 or so years ago, I decided that I wanted to move to Spain. I sold my gym, and me and my wife were in the middle of getting a transit van and just travelling about. And Brexit and COVID had other ideas. 4 years down the line, we've got 2 kids, a house, car that we just didn't need. It's an online coach. Where am I driving? And my point in telling you all this is that itch never went away to do something that I knew that I wanted to do with my life. So when I simplified things right down, sold the car, we're in the middle of selling the house, and en route to moving out here full time, I feel as if what isn't spoken about enough is how the quality of your life isn't your car, it's not your house, it's not even necessarily the weather. It's what you do on a day-to-day basis. And from growing up in Glasgow for the last 30 years of my life, I could actually see my life getting painted out for me, from going to school, doing a degree that I've not really done anything with, to then getting married, living in the suburbs, having kids. I just don't like the thought of my life being mapped out for me. One thing I learned a few years ago is that 95 to 97% of our lives are pretty much on autopilot. And a lot of people have what you would call golden handcuffs. So even the people that are seemingly doing quite well, they might drive a nice car, have a nice house, whatever. And over the last couple of years, the biggest fear that I've realised is how much that I don't want to grow up with too much regret tax. And the funny thing is, right, see the people that said that this was a risky move to take my family of 4 to another country that we don't really know, is that they kept talking about risk and something feeling risky. And as much as it might not seem it, this isn't a video to tell people to move to Spain. In all honesty, this is a video to encourage people to not live with some form of regret tax, because the risky thing for me is getting to the end of the one life that I get and having regret and not having my life set out for me. So the same people that say things are risky are the same people that have kids to people that they probably shouldn't have kids to, and the only irreversible thing is kids. So to me, this wasn't a risk. We've already got to your job can be changed, you can move house if it doesn't work out. And the reason why I'm showcasing this is literally that if it doesn't work out, I've said it here, like, at least I've tried. And what I don't want to do, right, is I completely get there's exceptions, and I don't want to sound like Molly May and talk about the 24 hours in a day, because it's absolutely not true. And admittedly, I don't even yield anywhere close to the same level of daily chaos as my wife does, and I still struggle with it. And people don't need to be made feel worse about their life. So people in Dubai, in Spain, in all these different countries are constantly posting pictures of them out partying, them doing whatever. They don't show you the hangover the next day, they don't show you the fear over the next 4 or 5 days. That's not why we moved here. We moved here literally because I know I would regret it as I got older. And believe it or not, as much as I'm using my story to tell this point, this is not about me. This is hopefully to empower people, whatever they're wanting to do, whether they're wanting to start a business, whether they're wanting to get out of this 6-week cycle of constantly starting a diet, going on and off because they've got a holiday coming up and they want to look good for other people. I'll tell you something now, people do not care. Being here and seeing people on the beach on a daily basis, people don't care. And they say ignorance is bliss. And I would say I only really, over the last year, started to realise the importance of not just racking up bills to look successful, and as much as I'm not really a fan of Piers Morgan, he did say something that I seen, and it did stick with me, believe it or not, as much as 99% of his other stuff doesn't. The level of your success is based on if your kids want to spend time with you when you're older. And me being cooked up in that gym, as much as it was a nice fancy home office, that if you told me years ago that I would have thought that I'd made it. It stressed me out. I lacked connection. I could see myself going down a path I didn't really want to go down. And it wasn't really until last year where I went on a retreat, and I'll go into that in a separate video, I think, because it's warranted. But in that, I just really seen the importance of not living your life with any sort of regret, especially to people that probably won't even go to your funeral. So really, I want this to be a reminder to people that success isn't about where you live. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about how in great shape you are. They can all be factors, but only if the intent is right. If the intent is to do it for yourself and to feel better, not because someone else is looking at you thinking one thing or the other. So I get that there's completely different circumstances in everyone's life, but let this give you some form of activation energy, hopefully, to at least start the thing with the right intent that you're fearful of doing. Any time in my life that I've been fearful of doing something, I've waited till basically breaking point to do it, and I never regretted it. It's never ever went swimmingly, but that's kind of built up enough trust that I realise what's the worst that can go wrong. As I say, all these things are completely reversible. So this isn't a video about how I moved to Spain or that you should. It's that if you've got something that you feel as if has been an itch that you wanted to scratch that's not went away for weeks, months, or even years, then the time's going to pass anyway. And the last thing that I certainly wanted to do, and probably that you want to do, is live your life with any sorts of regrets that you should have done something. So whether it's starting a business, getting out of the 6-week cycle of getting yourself in shape through counting your calories, or following a fitness program. I know I'm saying that as an online coach, but these things are fine if the intent is right. It might even be quitting your job. It might be moving to Spain. It might be moving to Italy. It might be moving to London, to Paris. It might be moving to Orkney. I've got a lot of clients in Orkney, so that's why I'm shouting there. Whatever is sitting in you with your life that you feel as if you can't do, that same belief is the thing that's holding you back from doing it. So don't wait until that breaking point to come, so that then that gives you enough activation energy to actually start something. So I wasn't sure if this was quite the video that you were expecting. I felt as if it was needed, because if I can help people get out of this cycle of monotony, getting wrecked every single weekend for years and years and years, and they're living life for the weekend, then I feel as if I've actually done something. And if you want some help with that, your lifestyle, your food, etc, etc, that is what I help people with. But I only help people that aren't just there for 4 or 6 weeks before their holiday to then rebound again. So if you want out of that cycle, depending on when you're watching this, you can join my app below, apply for coaching, the waiting list, it'll all be below. And if you want to just stick around for the free stuff, then by all means do so. But at least click the subscribe button so that I know that I'm not just talking to myself. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to know below what it is that you feel as if you've been wanting to do for the longest time. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.
I think the changes that people have noticed in me most is that I'm happier. Before I really struggled with my mental health, and by going through the programme, people have noticed a big change in how I am.
I just got to a point in my life where things were moving in the wrong direction, and I needed to make a change, and I knew what I needed to do, but I needed somebody else to kind of hold me accountable for that. Other people are really noticing the physical change and the confidence that I've got as a result of that.
Before, I perhaps would have self-sabotaged when something went wrong in my life, and I would have sort of given in to temptation of everything bad. I'm much more in control of everything I do now.
So if Sylvester was sat here, I think the first word I'd say is thanks.
Well, I'd probably say something fairly emotional and just say thank you.
Thank you so much. I think you've really changed my whole life, to be honest.